beauties. So I'm in Temagami, specifically the Chiniguchi Lake area of Temagami. I'm currently on Matagamasi Lake, but I'm heading north. I plan to spend 8 days... Wait, hold up. Better if I do it this way. Temagami, the crown jewel of northeastern Ontario, Canada. Home to the largest untouched old-growth stands of red pine on planet Earth. Follow me as I journey from the crystal blue waters and quartzite hills of Wolf and Chiniguchi Lakes, through vast tracts of pristine and remote wilderness, to the tumbling cascades and rushing whitewater rapids of the Sturgeon River. Along the way, I face my share of challenges, some of them imposed by the rugged landscape, and others that are self-imposed. Despite the hardships of a solo journey of over 150 kilometers through this expansive, majestic place, I managed to find the peace, tranquility, and the way to be present that only a week alone in the wild forest can offer. This is just a small part of the untamed and magical land of Temagami. I'm in the North Arm now. The wind is really whipped up. There's quite a fetch down the length of this North Arm. I don't mind hard work, but kind of right off the hop like this wind is howling. But this is going to steel me up for the rest of the journey. We're in it head first, friends. So I just took a minute to ride out a really big bit of gusty winds. It got ridiculous there for a minute, like literally couldn't move forward, basically windbound. Okay, pals, so we've made it finally to the first portage. Surprisingly, only took just over 2 hours. Thought that headwind would have put me back quite a bit, but I still managed 5K an hour. Not too bad. I just ran into another party on that port that wanted to warn me how steep this portage was, and I said, I kind of remember it. I do know what I'm getting into. And it is a pretty steep port, and they call this the Toenail Portage that goes around Paradise Lagoon. As you can see in wet weather, it'd be a little bit treacherous. Sunday of a long weekend. Paradise Lagoon was full of people enjoying it, as they should. Such a gorgeous spot, but more power to them, as long as they don't leave behind garbage and beer cans. They're good in my book. So I found camp. I'm gonna be able to camp here on Wolf Lake, which I'm so grateful for. It's a beautiful site. I remember seeing it a few years ago, and I paddled up. I was hoping to get a cliff site where I could have like a little swim off of it, but that wasn't gonna happen. They're all full up that way. So I've got a new tent. It's a Durston X Mid 2 that Sherry just bought for her solo trip, and I wanted to bring it because it's nice and light. But I was looking for it, and I was looking for the package that I know looks like this. And I pulled everything out of my bag, and it was not in there. So mild panic ensues. Then I remembered, because I have our Ostrom pack, it's not a dry sack. I had to put everything into a dry sack. So our tent was in there, we're good. Now I've just got to see if I can build, I've never set this tent up, so we'll see. Okay, panic back on. Not necessarily panic, but there must be a second bag to Sherry's tent, because now there's no interior to the tent, no bug net, no bottom. So it's basically just a glorified tarp shelter, which I should be okay with for 7 nights in Temagami. Temagami's got pretty well-used campsites, so I should be able to just sleep on the ground. I just don't know if I should use the tarp as my underlay. It seems like I'd be ruining a perfectly good, basically brand new tarp. But otherwise I have a thermarest that I could ruin that's $200, and then just lay that underneath and just don't inflate it underneath my climate sleeping pad. I'm gonna roll those options around in my brain. Anyway, the last I saw Sherry with this tent, the interior, you just take it down and pack it up with the interior in it. You don't detach it. I guess she detached it and put it in another container, and I didn't know, and I didn't ask, and I didn't check. So certainly not her fault, but whoops. It's said that you always forget something on a trip. It's just a matter of what it is. This one's pretty major, but I think we'll be okay. The weather seems like it's supposed to be decent. So just tarp camping for 7 nights. Wolf Lake is a special place. Surrounding the lake are incredible stands of red and white pine, the largest in the world. As far as the eye can see in every direction, towering pines of up to 80 feet dominate the landscape. But just a tiny portion of it has been spared from the logger's axe. Only around 1% of the old growth remains. Though its status as a wilderness reserve prevents active logging, it's still under threat due to ongoing mining activity. If you'd like to help, visit here and find out what you can do to help save Wolf Lake. I had a great day. Beautiful weather for the most part. Wind was a little bit of a test for me, as it always is for everyone. I'm not special. But I'm so happy to be here on Wolf Lake. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to get a site, but there was one left, and I'm on it. I boiled up some water, poured a cafe mocha, just a freeze-dried meal, spicy sausage pasta. I'm just going to relax, do some journaling and reading, catch the golden hour out here. Golden hour on these red pines is chef's kiss, magical. So I am pretty tired. I had a big day, not a ton of sleep. I had a show last night until midnight. Drove home, finished packing, finally got to sleep about 2 o'clock. I was up at 7:30. So I'm a little bit tired, also from the exertion. The folks just over here, like just across the bay, are having a blast. They're swimming and laughing a lot, which I love hearing. And it's not that late, so I'm trying to remind myself not to be frustrated with loud noises because I want to go to bed. And I'm going to read and finish journaling and just relax and let my bones calm down. This trip is sort of designed to help me. I've been feeling sort of a general malaise that I can't pinpoint. It's very nebulous. Anxiety that I don't really see a reason for. And I thought the best way to do that would be to get out into the forest for more than a few days. After about 3 or 4 days, then the nature starts to actually creep back into you, and you can sort of hear your own thoughts and things like that, or at least for me. Unfortunately, Sherry couldn't come because of work commitments. I am doing it solo. It'll be the longest solo trip I've ever done, but I really wish she were here. She'll be happy to see the footage, but I would have much rather had her here. Camping is much better when I share it with someone that I love so much, and hopefully our neighbors, chill out a little bit and wind down. But I'm glad they're having fun. Makes me happy. Good morning, friends. I woke up at 7:30. It's probably about 8:30 now. I've got camp strike down. Gonna get a fire going so I can make some coffee. Last night was an interesting night, to put it mildly. The bugs were pretty bad in the tent, so I slept with a bug jacket on and pants and in my sleeping bag, so it was pretty warm. But I finally think I figured out a system to have minimal skin availability to these buggers. It's already howling wind out here, and it was at 7:30, so that doesn't bode well. And I'm going to let you guess if it's a headwind or a tailwind. I know I'm in for work today. Breakfast of Champions. Organic oatmeal, cafe mocha, friends. Build strength for the day. So Sherry and I actually stayed at that site that all the loud folks were at yesterday. And on that point, so the Wolf Lake area is not a provincial park. It can only be a wilderness preserve because of the mining claims. So on that site that those folks were at, there's quite a few signs of active mining. Whether it be trails through the forest or drill holes in the earth and stuff. Mildly treacherous. It's so amazing because you're surrounded on all sides by these untouched stands of red and white pine that are absolutely glorious. Like, you don't see this literally anywhere else in the world. So that's really special. It's something we need to make sure we maintain and protect. People like Hap Wilson and Greenpeace and conservationists in the 70s and 80s, it was through their efforts that a lot of Temagami has been protected, or else think of lumber companies be salivating at these beautiful pine trees. So they went as far as chaining themselves to the logging equipment or chaining themselves to trees and setting up blockades through the logging roads in order to shut down this logging. Which of the living things that exist in our natural world do we not want to assign a dollar value to and see as a resource rather than a living, breathing part of our ecosystem that sustains us? There's no value of a 350-year-old red pine standing in the forest monetarily. It's only of value when you turn it into lumber. I think we have to have that conversation. As you can see up there, there's the portage straight ahead, and behind them you'll see some towering white pines. I'm really looking forward to this portage. There's so many beautiful trees in here. So when you're not in a huge hurry, there's a few advantages of a double carry portage. One of the main ones is being able to see around you. See these beautiful old growth pines in here. It's impossible if you've got a pack on your back and a canoe on your head, and you just don't want to miss it. So I'm happy to double carry these ports. Here's a huge white pine. Chiniguchi Lake, big body of water, and I'm hoping the wind stays low, but I'm going to take the east side of Caribou Island and work my way north just in order to mitigate sort of open water. A pair of kayak campers. They do say that there is a headwind coming down Chiniguchi. I'm on a colloquial basis because I've been here before. Way in the distance, there's a rock face called the Elephant Head. It's over on the main body of Chiniguchi. I'm out on the main portion of Chiniguchi Lake, coming up to an absolutely magical spot with a big, beautiful rock face. It just looks like it was handcrafted, if I recall correctly. And I think there's a campsite there. I'm going to stop for lunch. It's got to be, yeah, it's 12:30, so I'll be stopping about 4 hours in. Beautiful white sand beach, and I stopped. I did it. I stopped for a proper lunch, not feeling rushed. It's my proclivity to just push through lunches, push through any kind of breaks, just in the interest of optionality later, where like if I get maybe a little bit ahead, then I don't have to rush later, but later never comes. So it's important for me to not rush at any time. This is gross. Okay, so that was a slog, but it could have been a lot worse. I actually stayed out of the muck the entire time, so that's good. I did a little bit of scouting. This trail is a bit ambiguous. It goes this way and then peters out kind of right away. This trail keeps going, but it kind of snakes along the shore, but it's the only one that makes sense. It looks more like a trail, so I'm going to follow this one. It's a 650 through the mosquitoes. There's a lot of mosquitoes here. So now I'm just wandering. There's one trail that just runs around the shore of this pond, and I'm looking for something that heads toward the next lake. I'm seeing nothing. I don't see flagging tape very well, being colorblind, but I'm like looking for anything that looks like a trail. I'm starting to get pretty hot. A little bit fed up with this portion. This trail here that I thought petered out. No, this was the trail. We're back in action, friends. Okay, I'm gonna be making some noise here because I just saw two turkey vultures on the trail and I'm smelling a carcass. And I just don't want any big mammals. Hello, hey bear. Hello, wolf. I don't want any big mammals around. Hello. I might have already walked past the carcass. It was a really heavy smell just there. Hey bear. No surprises today. Now every dark stump in the forest looks like a bear to me. Great. Anyway, wow. That was intense. Talk about all of a sudden feeling completely inadequate in the forest when you're pretty sure there's a bear or a pack of wolves gnawing on a carcass that you can smell very, very clearly with your terribly underdeveloped human nose. So it's close. I had to walk back through that twice after first encountering it. So now we're on Button Lake. You know what it's as cute as? A wee button. Okay, last portage of the day, if all goes well. It's a pretty steep one to get out of here, but we're headed out of Button Lake and into Doherty Lake. Holy, I'm sweating. That was very steep going up. And then there was a small little plateau and then very steep coming back down. From what I see, it's a gorgeous lake, lots of beautiful pine and the turquoise waters. Basically, I'm on track or ahead of schedule for my plan. But I still have to get the damn canoe. Yeah, don't leave that there. I don't want to swim to the campsite. That is easily the toughest port on the trip so far. Ouch! You need to paddle, but you also need to filter water. You improvise. Hopefully that stays. So gang, I found camp. I managed to find the island that I was looking for and it was vacant and I barely made it there. There was so much headwinds trying to prevent me, but could not. I persevered and cussed a little. Come on. God. So this huge fire pit that somebody is doing the camper etiquette and leaving the place ready to go just in case. Beautiful little tent pad in the breeze, like high breeze right now. Beautiful little lookout rock back here, and I'm gonna go for a swim right here where we put in because I need a swim. Oh, thank God. Oh, and now I'm going to make dinner. Though I'm not hungry, again I hear Sherry's voice in my head saying, don't be ridiculous, you need to eat. As usual, the butter chicken and risotto is amazing. I've made far too much. I'm used to making rehydrating dinner for two, and that is probably for two. I tried to go short. I did not. I'm still feeling anxious. Still feeling like I'm missing out on something. And but I'm finding out more and more why I prefer not to solo camp, and it's because I love to share the moments with Sherry. Like I love to share seeing new things for the first time, or seeing an animal, or just taking in beauty and just enjoying it with her. It's just not as enjoyable by myself. I'm only 2 days in, but so far it's beautiful and amazing, but it's not as enjoyable as if Sherry and I were doing this together. I get to camp, set up camp, get food going that I don't really want to eat, but know that I need the nutrients. And then it's like, what? Just look at the water, I guess, and think thoughts. I'll try that for a few more days. Hoping that the mosquitoes will be at least more reasonable this evening. But as I was looking out over a beautiful spot, I noticed in the horizon, literally directly where I'm going to and where the wind is coming from, what looks to me to be wildfire smoke. But I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing something. You guys will see the footage. Good morning, campers. What a magical lake this is. It's gorgeous. I'm sure that I have the lake all to myself, and probably the next couple of lakes in either direction. So Temagami is all that it's cracked up to be, my friends. I've worked pretty hard to get 3 days out, or 2.5 days out. I'll be hitting the Sturgeon River probably just around lunchtime or so, begin the next phase of the journey. I put the drone up to see if I could see any of the wildfire that I noticed last night, and I didn't see the plumes. It's really, really hazy this morning, and it's almost as though someone was having a campfire outside of my tent this morning, and you can see there's quite the pall over the lake. But I didn't see the plume that I saw last night, so Sherry's not getting back to me on the Zolio. I'm not concerned. I don't believe I should be, so then I'm not. pull over just to marvel at the shorelines, just absolutely covered in beautiful, towering, ancient, a lot of white pine, but red pine as well. And like even there's one island just full of red pine right there, but 60-foot tall pines. The camera does not do it justice, and I don't have to tell you that. I'm sure if you're watching this, you like the outdoors as well, so you've seen your share of beauty in the outdoors, but trying to get some sense, this lake is just absolutely surrounded, walled in on every side by lovely, gorgeous, old-growth pine trees. What a treat that we have here in Temagami. Become familiar with it, and you will love it. And if you love it, you'll protect it. This will be fun with the canoe. Not all that hard, just awkward. Okay, my last lake for a few days. Stouffer Lake. Yeah, there's so many like blowdown and obstructions that are relatively easy to clear. I'm actually surprised at how much is left here. It's almost as though A, either not a lot of people use the route, which is possible, but it seems decently traveled, or B, people think it's someone else's job to do it. This isn't a park, this is crown land basically until you get to the river. And Friends of Temagami does do trail clearing, but with such a huge, vast area and so few of the members, we're relying on the humans who use the trail to clear it when you can. So I did a little bit. Okay, everyone, we are on the Sturgeon River. I plan to paddle down as far as the canyon and then take a lunch break. I've actually moved my bag. It used to be in the front compartment. I've moved it to here. It'll bring my bow up a little bit and make the boat a bit more responsive to turning. And the wind shouldn't be as influential on the river. Okay, here we go. So here at the canyon, ran into a group of teenagers from, I think, Camp Pathfinder, carrying a couple of cedar strip canoes. I'm gonna give them a little bit of time to get ahead. I was thinking about just racing ahead, but they're going straight through. So I'm gonna stop here between the two portages, have some proper lunch, change out some batteries, rehydrate, go for another round. First proper rapids, and it's pretty bony, but I think I see a line. Okay, we got a pillar rock here, and a ledge. It's just bony, but we're through. Right. I think that's what it's going to look like, gang. So this one, I'm just gonna sort of run the first 2 sets and then bottom out, not eddy out, but bottom out, and just line the third one. It's even bonier than I thought. Even bonier than I thought. I have to get out and wade. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, back to the top. It's a lot more intense than it needed to be. Another really bony C2. I'm just going to take it slow, try to maneuver where I can. Because lining would be difficult because of these fallen trees. It's nice and slow through here. So we are now entering what's called the Gorge. So I'm assuming it's going to look pretty. It's just got a bunch of C2 rapids, but they're going to be shallow, so I'm just going to have to be careful. That was fun, but I just knocked over both GoPros trying to cross draw. Oh well. Missed that. So I gotta hit this left-hand line just right and then miss a boulder to the right. It's in the center. And then go not all the way to the right though, because there's another boulder there. Hit that just how I wanted. Swinging this in, this should be exactly how it should hit. Oh, it's ever rocky though, holy. Thank gosh for Royal X, ladies and gentlemen. It's really pretty in here. I like tight rivers like this. I just gotta take this one slow. This goes right up the pipe, and then there's a boulder in the middle I gotta miss to the left. Then right away, after that, I gotta go right to miss another boulder. Left, and then I gotta go right immediately after that. Left, and then immediately right. Actually, that was pretty easy. Okay, I have one more 100-meter seemingly easy one before I have a portage, 420 meters. On the 420 meter portage around a cascade of sorts. It's pretty rocky and rootsy, but it's wide open, so it's okie doke. Getting later in the day. I believe I said it was 3 o'clock. So I'm gonna make a plan once I get the canoe over, make a plan for when I'm gonna stop for the day, which I don't want to be too long from now. I'm getting tired. That sun has not let up. There's not a cloud in the sky all day, just draining me. So I'd really like to find a nice, wide open, breezy campsite. So we just pulled out of that 420. Now we got a 240. So hopefully it's not as treacherous as the last one, but it is what it is. I've done a lot of paddling today. Portaging is fine. I was planning to end up at least at Pilgrim Triangle today, and that's what's next. Basically, I've got 3 portages, no rapids or anything, just 3 ports, 2 of them being falls, which would be nice. And then I'm at Pilgrim's Corner. I have no idea what to expect, but there's a few campsites on there. So one of which I hope will be sort of an open, comfy site for me. The young men's group there had said that they were aiming for Pilgrim this leg of the trip, which I'm pretty dubious that they're going to make it that far, but maybe if they go late. So I don't want to take one of the bigger sites and sort of hamstring them. We'll see. This river is dropping precipitously. How exciting. That's the put in. If anybody ever tells you that Temagami's portages aren't all that tough, punch them square in the mouth. Oof, that was a heck of a port. So this one does say C2 Rapids. It might be runnable, but it does have a 150 meter rocky portage. So I'm just gonna have a look at it to see if I think I can run it without too much trouble. Save ourselves yet another rocky portage. So that first set looks no problem, a little bit pushy, but no problem. And the second set actually looks okay. So I think we can do this. I'm gonna just take her slow, be ready to move quickly. Okay, like I said, the first set's pretty simple. It's big, but it's pretty simple. Just try to go slowly through there. And it looked like the second set I would need to move right. No, it's fine. Stay left after this big set here. Looks like there's a boulder in the middle. Alright, we straight by it, nice. So yeah, I'm just going to stay to the left. This particular set, it looks bony, but I think we're doable. There's a ledge, but it shouldn't be an issue for us. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's a large site, like a group site, so it's well used. It's actually not terrible, but there's a single campsite supposed to be straight across here. So it might be a little smaller, but it might be more my speed. I was hoping to get something facing west so that I could dry my clothes. So if those dudes from the camp end up being able to make it, perfect, they should camp there. This It's actually, I think, a fabulous site for one tent. It's got a beautiful landing for the canoe. Somebody's left a cord of brush. Doesn't come in cords, I know that. Beautiful little fire pit. Tent pad will work perfectly for my tarp, which was supposed to be a tent. Let's hope the mosquitoes are kind to me again tonight due to this breeze. I think we'll stay here. My setup in the tent. Base layer is our tarp, a thermarest, our standard climate sleeping pad, sleeping bag, and not one but two Nemo pillows. That's luxury, friends. So I'm just sitting down for dinner. That was a long day. I feel pretty good. I feel strong still, but I don't feel all that hungry, which I haven't felt the last few days. But I'm gonna have a little chicken smashed pot pie. So those campers that were back, I met them way back, and I thought because they had the portage over everything, they might not make it to Pilgrim as they were hoping, but they did show up. They made her. And they're at the big group site that I looked at first, and I was like, just in case they make it here, they'll need this site. So I'm glad that I came to this single site here. It's a much cozier site and more beautiful anyway. So there was less anxiety today. There's a thing called imposter syndrome where you feel like everybody's just mistaken about you, and then one day everybody's just going to find out that you're a fraud. And for me, it happens with music all the time, but sometimes it happens with myself when I'm facing difficult situations in any regard. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that. First class too, I tried to overdo it and cross the stream, ended up getting hung up on a rock. They're black rocks underneath the dark water, so hard to see, and I ended up backwards in the river, ready to go over a ledge, so I ended up getting both of my feet wet. But I'm feeling better every day, stronger, coming to a challenge, and instead of panicking and thinking of too many things at once, I'm just overcoming the challenge at hand and then moving to the next one. And that's where I thought I'd be after day 3, just sort of more present. And so here we are. Okay, I'm ready to head to bed. Go to the tent and read a few lines of the book I'm reading right now by our friend Mark Dunn. Just thinking back on the day and how grateful I am to be able to live in this area, to be so close to it, to be able to reach it. I was on Frederick Lake today, and just saw those towering pines on everywhere you looked. I was just so grateful for that. And so all the hard stuff that awaits me in the future, like possible rain and sand and bugs that I can't really deal with at night, I will still be grateful. It's still all worth it for that. Good morning, campers. So lovely and rather chilly morning this morning. Put my rain jacket on with my bug jacket. A little more of a Spartan existence on this particular trip. So I'm just going to have some coffee and some trail mix for breakfast. I've got a bunch more rapids to run today. I'm going to go through Upper Goose Falls and Lower Goose Falls, and then work my way south on the Sturgeon River. Hopefully not too rocky. cannot see. Good, okay. Man, that was tough. I couldn't see. Should be able to go straight right here. Over this ledge. Okay. Fun set. Sorry about smacking it again, that was rude. This all looks pretty good, just a wave train. This is where it gets rocky, I'm sure. Tough to say which direction to go here. Around this big boulder though, for sure. Go between these two big boulders. Oh, I'm gonna hit this one. Well, I'll be alright, okay. Didn't exactly thread that one super clean. I don't think that was 4 cents, if I'm honest. A million blue jays calling all over the place here. They must be the gatekeepers. We're in the gate right now. Oh man, this is spectacular. It sort of opens up right after the gate, and it is dead calm, dead quiet, with life all around. I saw a bald eagle fly ahead just as I was rounding a corner. So grateful for this. So grateful for this. I've been paddling through marshy wetland gorges for over an hour, I'm going to say. So the terrain's just starting to change to a little bit more rocky, a little bit more coniferous. So I have a feeling we're about to come on Upper Goose Falls, hopefully. What are the odds that you catch 2 geese flying right over Upper Goose Falls? Man, I am incredibly stiff. It's probably because of 2.5, almost 3 hours of paddling without portage. So this is why I like portages, friends. Keeps you from atrophying. sun isn't over yet. There's a nice little C2 right here at the bottom of the falls. This should be fun. Hang on tight. It's followed by what looks like another, I don't know, there's a bunch of trees anyway. No, you know what? Yeah, I was about to run it, and then at the last minute I saw a couple of overhangers. I was like, okay, and then basically the current jams you right into some recently fallen red pine, and I was like, oh no. So I just eddied out. I'm just going to just lift over. That was close. That could have been really ugly. This whole section is just littered with fallen in trees. Just really high sandbanks, and they're just eroding. Just going to take it slow through here. Oh, a whole series of strainers. This is gross. I mean, it's a natural occurrence, but it's still gross. I feel like there's a line through here, though. And there is just so many fallen trees and eroded sandbanks. Like, I don't know if it's due to ice damming at the falls, either this year or last, but it looks like a lot of this stuff that's falling in the river is from this year. So up ahead we have the Obabaca River confluence. It's a decent sized river, so hopefully the Sturgeon will have a bit more flow after the Obabaca joins in. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. If you know where the portage is on the left at Lower Goose Falls, please put it in the comments. I could not find anything there. I think it's just that the landscape has changed so much with erosion. Anyway, it's just sapping my energy. It's so damn hot. I'm not seeing any clouds. I don't want to complain because rain's coming tomorrow, and I'll complain about that. You can be sure. I'm going to stop under this little tiny wee shade tree at the beach, have some lunch, make a game plan for the afternoon. Whereabouts do we want to end up? Actually, I don't know if it's going to be possible for me to like track my whereabouts, so I'm just going to have to paddle till I'm tired and find a sandbar, which is the last thing that I wanted to do, but it's looking like there's no other options. I don't know how I'm going to make that work, but I'm sure I'll figure it out because I always do. I chose to do this. This was something I went out of my way to do, and here I am complaining about it. Sad. We just had a surprise rapid, very short but violent, and got a little bit wet there, but no big deal. So I've been going like this pace for just over 3 hours now, which I figure is probably about 8 kilometers an hour with the current, which is going pretty good. So I didn't do my homework and figure out exactly the kilometerage between Kelly's and Lower Goose Falls, but I can't imagine it's more than 40K. So I believe I should be there for dinner, hopefully. I'm just booking it. I can't afford to try something on a sandbar with the setup that I have. It's just not going to work, and I'm just going to frustrate myself and maybe wreck something. So the best way to do it is just to book it as hard as I can and get to Kelly's before dark and set up on terra firma. I'm going to be sore tomorrow, but I'll be dry and not full of sand. 3.5 hours south of Lower Goose Falls. These beautiful high bluffs. Could this be it? It could be just a beaver slide. I can't see tape very well. I think it's just a beaver slide. I'm pretty sure that's just a beaver slide. Just after 5:30. We should be close. God, I hope we're close. I'm getting tired. Oh my God. 6:45. You have no idea how happy I am to be at this place where I was like, I think this is the Kelly Portage, and it looks like that. But if you come up the creek just a touch, you'll see there is a portage sign there. My feet are going to get wet, and that's quite the lift, but I don't care. I'm friggin' here. Can't believe I made it. Pilgrim to Kelly Portage in one day, solo, by accident, because of a strategic error. This is crazy steep. I knew it was going to be buggy, but I didn't think it would be this buggy. This is crazy. Okay, this should be sweat inducing. Well, we're halfway there. That was hard work. But I'd rather do that than, I don't know, sleep under the stars on a sandbank. So that's a W. I've read at the top of this precipice here, somebody's laid down a bunch of grass, and it looks like people have stayed here quite recently, actually. There's a pile of wood, a little tent pad over there. There's more just here. There's another makeshift clearing for a couple of tents. So I'm going to do a little bit of scouting while my water filters, and then I'm going to set up the tent just so that we have everything sort of sorted. I'm not going to be cooking dinner tonight, I don't think. I might make a coffee if I get really, really adventurous. A fire would help with the mosquitoes, to be fair. But we'll see. We'll see in a little bit. Well, it's a field of hay with a makeshift lean-to in there. It's not perfect, but it's home for tonight. Good morning, friends. So I had a pretty good sleep, actually. Well needed. The mosquitoes weren't nearly as bad as I feared they would be out here. They actually calmed right down. I mean, I battened down the hatches pretty good. So that there's actually quite a bit of condensation. Right. In no time flat, I have the tent all torn down. It's just drying over here. The tarp is a little wet on the bottom, which tells me that it was a lot due to the ground. The plan is to run everything over the 3,500 meter portage. There's actually blue sky right now showing through in some spots, and we haven't seen a lick of rain just yet, but I am not going to tempt fate. So I'd like to get everything over there, get it set up and ready underneath something dry, then come back and grab the canoe. Breakfast of champions. This is the odor equivalent of putting lipstick on a pig. Glorious. Okay, so what Zolio is showing me is actually that this morning it's not supposed to rain. It won't rain now. It's going to even be sunny this afternoon and 25 degrees. It won't rain until the evening. So what that tells me is I should make a break for it now, get over to camp, unpack it, let it dry out once the sun comes out. Yeah, and then it'll be ready for setup tonight. Didn't look like it was used very much, but here now it opens up a fair bit. I see where all the mosquitoes are coming from now. I hope we're getting close. Okay, so this is our first big challenge here, especially with the boat. Probably this way, I guess. I can see water. Hooray! Matagamasi Lake. So I'm at the campsite, Matagamasi Lake, at the end of the Kelly Portage. It's not great. It's just kind of scratched out of the forest. Like that would be the only viable tent pad, and it's quite a gradient. And I know I'm being picky at this point, but I still have one more night to sleep on my tarp. So I might bring the canoe over, have a bit of lunch / breakfast or whatever. Take a look at the map and do a little bit of paddling to see if I can find an alternate site that's a little bit more suited to what I'm looking for. That took just under an hour. Felt like 5. No, it didn't. It felt like an hour, but it was hard work. And then I'm going to say it'll take a little bit longer with the canoe just because of maneuvering and things. That'll put me probably close to noon by the time this whole fiasco is done. It's hot and bushy and buggy. Oh. My shoulders are absolutely burning. Soreness from the yoke. The yoke isn't as ergonomically designed as it could be. So it just sits like a plank on my neck and shoulder muscles and it just burns. This is the port that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. I see blue. We're there, friends. There you have it. Kelly's Portage. Just around 3 hours in total. Double carry. Countless bug bites. 1.3 liters of sweat. 1.5 liters of water. And I just had a bald eagle greet me. As actually happens more times than you'd expect. Whenever I enter a lake, a bald eagle comes and greets me and almost shows me the way. So that portends for good things to come, I think. So I'm just looking for a campsite on Matagamasi. It's a beautiful lake, crystal clear water, and several beautiful islands. This one here on Big Elephant Island, it's not going to work for my setup just because the only tent pad is smaller and it's definitely cockeyed. But I've got to paddle south to find any more campsites. And the first 3 days, I battled really heavy north winds as I tried to paddle north every day. And now that I'm heading south 2 days later, has to be 30 kilometer an hour winds with 40 kilometer gusts coming through from the south now, because that's the way I'm heading. I'm not complaining, but that's weird, no? Is that just the universe putting just another little challenge in front of me to overcome so I can feel better? Maybe. I feel pretty good now, though. All right, well, I found a well-used site here on Matagamasi. It looks like locals or someone basically just feels like this is their private property because they've just left pots and things hanging everywhere, and even like full water bottles, kettles, frying pans, not even like in a place, just laying about, and garbage in the fire pits. There's a beautiful beach that I want to swim in. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup, so I'm just going to putter away, making this place more beautiful than the people that left it last. Hopefully the weather holds out. I think it's supposed to rain tonight, which is beautiful. Clear up again tomorrow and then rain tomorrow night. Beautiful. You know, as much as I'm aligned, the things hanging around the campsite and this wind, they're actually coming in pretty handy for me. They dried out my tent and tarp pretty quickly, and also now they're drying laundry, so it goes to show you, what the heck do I know? Well, friends, today has been an absolute magical day. It's been sunny and breezy, this beautiful sight, just soaking some lasagna, some homemade and dehydrated lasagna that I'm really looking forward to tonight. Cutting up some firewood, and Jay made another strategic error, it turns out. There's a tiny little island behind me that doesn't show up as Crown land. That one there doesn't show up as private land, but it turns out there's a little, must be a cabin there. And just now, 10, 30 something dudes just got dropped off at that cabin on a houseboat. So I imagine they're having a big old banger tonight about 150 meters from my camp. So that was another strategic error on my part. This is the lessons we learn when we camp on lakes that have motorboat access. You're going to get fire pits full of garbage strewn all over the site, and you're going to have camp parties right next to your Crownland Temagami camping site. Hopefully they don't go too late. They look like a bunch of lightweights anyway. Should be fun. Lasagna! Well, that was a wonderful dinner. Anything homemade and then dehydrated and then rehydrated in the backcountry, it just sort of warms the heart a little bit as well as the tummy. So I'm having actually a coffee as well. After I ate the lasagna, I boiled water in it in order to clean out whatever's left on the sides for about 25, 35 seconds. Then I decided to not let that water go to waste, so I'm having a coffee with it, like a sociopath. I still have a couple more days of adventuring and new places to see here in Temagami, but hopefully in a couple days when I get home, I can be a better, more calm, more focused, less scattered. I feel that right now. Good morning, campers. It's day 6 here on Matagamasi Lake. The sun's actually shining. I was expecting rain this morning, but it's kind of blue skies. It looks like the rain might skirt us yet again for the third time. Last night was not good. So it started with the gents in the cabin behind. They were partying pretty hard. The one guy was, it's like he found out what an echo was for the first time. So he just kept screaming into the ether just to hear his voice back well after dark. They ended up petering out around midnight, so that wasn't even really an issue. I was just reading. It was the mosquitoes. So the mosquitoes were the worst they've been. And you know when you wake up in the morning and you've got like hundreds of mosquitoes against your rain fly between, you, then your mesh, and then the mosquitoes. That was me last night, but I don't have the mesh. So those mosquitoes were all up in my business. So I didn't sleep a wink. I have not slept yet. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I don't feel terribly. Yeah, that wasn't a great night, but I'm gonna have some coffee and I'm gonna have some oatmeal to get my day started. And then we're gonna pack up camp and work our way north. I hope you had a better sleep last night than I did. Just finishing up packing up here. I'm going to make my way with the wind this time up the lake, and I'm going to head into Donald. Can't wait to introduce you to these two guys. Are as close as it gets without being family, and even then I play in a couple of bands with these guys, and they are both avid outdoorsmen, campers, canoeists, and we've never been out in the backcountry, all three of us together. So this will be a first, and okay, so they call this a 140-meter portage, but to me it's more like a 140-meter skill testing question. Like you're rock hopping and you're climbing a steep scree here. This is challenging. I like it. First thing in the morning, get the blood flowing, eh? That's the thing. There's no definitive line. You just choose your own adventure all the way up. How interesting is this, eh? Well, that was actually fun. I don't want to do it any more, but that was fun. We paddled 4 or 5 strokes. We've got the longest one of the route into Donald at 3:20. There's just beauty at every turn on these portages in this canyon. And this is why we do single leg squats at home. And then nothing prepares you for this goat path. It's a little sketchy. Okay, those were fun. Now we've got a couple short ones. We got a 70, and then a 60, and then a 180, and then finally a 60 before they let us onto Donald. I'm glad all I had was that one big port yesterday, because that would have been tiring if I had a big day yesterday. I guess that 3,500 was a pretty big, that was 3 hours of my life, but I feel pretty fresh despite no sleep. It might be the area. This is just an absolutely magical canyon. I suggest you come here yourselves. I am so looking forward to seeing my dearest friends, two of my literal favorite people in the world. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm just a hair more excited to get the mesh portion of the tent for the next 2 nights so I can actually have a night of peaceful sleep. But the guys are going to be awesome too. Just checking out potential campsites here on Toenail Lake. I'm gonna head up north and check out the one that I had my eye on behind the peninsula. Okay, now we're into exhaustion at this point. So that one site that I showed you, beautiful peninsula, I should have just stayed there. I paddled all the way up. I wanted the guys to have less of a paddle because they're gonna be later coming in, but I paddled 40 minutes all the way up the lake. And those 3 sites seem to be taken. So I'm paddling my arse off to get back to this peninsula site before it gets taken by someone. But I'm reasonably confident no one else was coming in behind me from Matagamasi Lake. I am exhausted and I am so overtired. Like I've been awake for 30 some odd hours with no sleep. So I feel like I'm high on drugs, but I'm not, Mom. I'm not high on drugs, I'm just tired. But I'm going to give you a tour of the site. I actually rather like it. It's got a little bit of something for everyone. First of all, let's give a hand to the jack pines for holding it down. By it, I mean the soil. The soil, it's a symbiotic thing. The soil's holding them up as well, so it works out nice. Humongous fire pit that we'll never use all of. Beautiful views, lots of sitting spots, tons of great opportunity for hanging a hammock in there. Here's a fire pit a little bit more suited to our style. Gorgeous jumping rock, or if you're a little less adventurous, you could come down here. Right here, lots of room for 3-4 canoes. Perfecto. Oh wait, there's more. There's a whole other half to this campsite. There's a sort of forest area. 3 or 4 cliff top tent pads. 1, 2, 3, probably 4 back there. Anyway, camp for night 6 here in Temagami. I can't wait for a nap. Doing the same setup as I've been doing, just in case the guys don't make it here. Maybe it gets too dark, they get held up in traffic, so it gets too dark, they have to stop short tonight, and I have to do this setup one more time. Let's hope that doesn't happen, please, and thank you, gang. But I'm just doing this setup so I can have a nap. Open up both sides, breeze is going to come through. It will be delightful. A nap sounds like I slept last night. This is I'm going to have last night's sleep and compress it into about 2 hours this afternoon. Yeah, buddy. That is the stuff. That's a lot better. So just a recap of what I've done the last couple of days. This is that campsite that I was camped on last night on Matagamasi Lake. This little island right here is where the party was. They had a hell of a time. They were up fishing this morning by 7:30 this morning. And then this morning we paddled up here all the way up to Donald Creek, did those portages into Potman Lake and then into the stream. And I checked out this site and said, oh, that's a pretty nice site, but I wanted to get one of these because it makes us closer to the exit tomorrow. But they were all taken, so back down here, and this is the site that we're on today. All right, pals, today is a hot one. I'm over on the lee side of the peninsula, and I'm just going to cook some dinner. I'm going to do it like I've done most things today, and I'm going to do it the lazy way. I'm going to use our MSR Pocket Rocket gas stove. It's really, really breezy, really, really dry, and I don't want to light a flame fire right now till after dark. Maybe. Even then, don't know. But for right now, I'm just going to cook like this. It is approaching 6:30. I tried a couple of times, and there's just no napping in a sauna. I don't know if you ever tried. It's just no napping in a sauna.
Not bad, chum.
Yeah, there's a nice jumping rock right there, boys.
Yeah, we were just looking at that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I used it more than once today. Bienvenue. Welcome, boys. How was that for a paddle? The winds were really high here, man.
Oh man, we celebrated it coming up.
How's it going?
It's good, man. Welcome.
I don't remember signing the consent form.
Someone down at my baby's house, right across the way. There's someone down at my baby's house, and there's nowhere left to pay. Someone down at my mama's church. Just the other day. Really roughing it now. Good morning, pals. Day 7 in Temagami. Day 7 is a little different than other mornings. I woke up to a fresh pot of coffee, like ground coffee, after at least 8, probably more like 9 hours of solid sleep. So things are starting to look up here for your old pal Jay, friends. I think we're just going to stay today on Donald Lake and maybe do a little bit of exploring, do a lot of hanging out and some music and basically just reverie for this place that we're in and this time that we live in among friends. So enjoy the day with us.
No, for cooking. That's what. Wow.
All right.
Oh yeah.
So the day has gone by quickly but easily. We've just kind of been hanging around the campsite. We were going to journey a little bit, and we did, and then we got caught in a bit of a rainstorm. So things are drying out, and we're just catching up and hanging out here on the Peninsula campsite. Such a gorgeous day. First rain I've seen in a week here in Temagami. I've gotten extremely lucky. I couldn't believe that. But we're just drinking in all that is today and working very little and snacking. How decadent.
We got some wild game and some wild lettuce. Or wild noodles.
Wild. I caught these noodles in the wild.
Sea noodles.
Nice. So I've just completed my final portage of the trip. I'm here in McCarthy Bay on Matagamasi Lake, which, as you know, is where I put in 8 days ago. I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now. Gratitude for being able to have these wild spaces to come to cleanse the soul and look for answers. Satisfaction for putting a lot of challenges, some of them unnecessary, in front of myself in order to complete this trip, I feel a profound sense of satisfaction having done everything that I did. So some degree of success. I feel equanimity, centered, no longer anxious. I don't have that general nebulous feeling of malaise that I couldn't put my finger on. Just feeling at peace, which a week in the forest will do for just about anybody, I would submit. So grateful for having Frank and Jay meet me for the last day to hang out, play music, sharing some fellowship, catch up, just share ideas and laughs. Good friends are as good as family. For those of you watching, still watching this video, thank you so much. We love all of the viewers and people that give us feedback, that you who are watching right to the bitter end. You're our people, so thank you so much for that. See you on the next one. This is how we camp.